Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county sheriff, it's in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July the 22nd, 2018. The time, 4:10 a.m. First, say thank you to all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College Online. I'm pursuing my associate degree studying business administration concentration mark. At this present time, I'm taking a break from going to school. In the very near future, I will be going back to Monroe College Online. I'm going to continue to pursue my education. I'm going to continue to pursue my education and studying business administration concentration mark and earn my associate degree. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do my Instagram. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis in the county sheriff, in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July the 22nd, 2018. The time, 4:12 a.m. First, say thank you to all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang, anti-gang. Gonna continue to complain, gonna continue to speak out about people saying they are gang plus stir, mob plus stir, saying they are goon, they are boss, they are thug. People saying they are Mac, they are player. People saying they are crook, they are hoodlum. People saying they are pimp, they are whore, they are just all kind of street slang. That's what that is, street slang. People all over the earth, communicate, use language. That's street slang. It's gonna be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. So sorority and fraternity, it's a guarantee. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. I'm going to stand up for my human rights. First, we want to give thanks to God for all the blessings and guidance that He provides us all with. Now, these are some websites you can go to. They make free logo design. Anti-gang logo. This is International Bill of Human Rights, was the name given to United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217, and two international treaties established by the United Nations consist of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1966 with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights 1966. This is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It is an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly, described as an International Bill of Rights for Women. It was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states over 50 countries. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child. It is an international document promoting child rights, drafted by Eglantine Jebb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in the extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This date has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. This is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It is a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines the child as any human being under the age of 18 unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. This is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights. 1922 is founded by some 20 national organizations on the initiative of French and German member organizations. It is the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. This is the world's oldest global environmental organization and international union for conservation of nature and the World Wildlife Fund. Now we know that there are other organizations, human rights organizations, Amnesty International, for example, Human Rights Watch, for example. Now we know the history of these organizations. We know the work that they do. Do a background check on these organizations: environmental organizations, nature organizations, conservation organizations, human rights organizations, whatever kind of organization. I always do a background check because some people been exposed for being some scam artists, some con artists, trying to solicit people for money and things of this nature. Do a background check. Now, these are some websites you can go to. These are free logo design for anti-gang logos. Now I'm gonna do my periscope. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff, in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July 22nd, 2018. Time is 4:27 a.m. First thing, thanking all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang, anti-gang. These are just a few of the websites you can go to that make free logo design, anti-gang logos. I'm going to continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. People saying they're a gang pluster, mob pluster. People saying they're a boss. They're a goon. They're a thug. They're a crook. They're a hoodlum. They're a Mac. They're a player. People saying they're a pimp. They're a whore. It's all street slang. It's street slang. People all over the earth communicate. People use language. All that nonsense you be talking is street slang. That's all it is, street slang. Now, the sorority and fraternity, it's a guarantee. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. When I'm on my job, when I'm at my place of work, my place of employment, when I'm at work, people be saying this stuff. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. That's a guarantee. Sorority and fraternity, it's a guarantee. Now, we're finna get straight to it. Give me some water. Spill a little water on myself. Now, we're gonna these man-made religious organizations. Man-made religious organizations. Let me move the books down. Now these are man-made religious organizations. Man-made religious organizations. They use Romans chapter 16, verse 16. Salute one another with the holy kiss. The church with the suffix es. Churches of Christ salute you. The man-made religious organization, they also use 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 4, so that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix es, churches of God, for your patience, faith, and all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Now we've been going over this issue. People saying they are Christian, Christianity. Now, the first place in the Bible that you find this word Christian, Acts chapter 11, verse 26. Now we know, we've been going over that when you say Christian, that was over in Antioch. Now we all been taught, that's the way we all been taught. We've been taught that saying Christian is right. Wrong is wrong. That's an insult. It's an offense. The person or persons that said Christian, they were not trying to be nice to the disciples. They were being mean. It was an insult. They were trying to insult the disciples. They called the disciple Christian. That's what that person or persons did. They insulted the disciple over there in Antioch. The apostles and the elders of the church were in Jerusalem. Now, if you want to say something, Jesus Christ, like we've been going over, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the leader of the disciples, the leader of the disciples, repeatedly, over and over and over again, told all his followers they were the disciples. This was one of the questions that he repeatedly had to answer, because he was continually having new followers. He had old followers, then he had new followers. And the question that you had to continually answer repeatedly over and over and over again, what do you call your followers? The disciples. They my disciples. That's what Jesus Christ called it. They're read writing in the Bible. For all the little girls and little boys, when you read the Old Testament, they're read writing in the Bible. That's God talking. When you read the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and in the book of Apostles, the book of Apostles, and some of them other places, not the stuff that Saul wrote. Not that stuff that Saul wrote, because that's all lies. It's all lies. There are other places in the apostles, like 1st, 2nd Peter, James 1, the book of James, Jude. I got my Bible right here. I don't have to guess. And Hebrews. And then let's see, James. Yep. First and 2nd Peter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd of John, Jude, and the book of Revelation. Now, and they read writing. That's Jesus talking. That's Jesus talking. Jesus called his disciples, called all his followers, the disciples. Now, the second place in the Bible that you find the word Christian, we know that's an insult. It's an insult. That was not something nice that the person or person was saying. That's an insult. The second place is in the book of Acts. The book of Acts. The Acts of the Apostles. In chapter 26, verse 28. And Saul was talking to King Agrippa. I'm turning over there right now. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuaded me to be a Christian. We know that's a lie, because Saul is a liar. And the third place in the Bible, when you find the word Christian, we're going to go there. 1 Peter. Chapter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on his behalf. We know that the Apostle Peter was not telling anybody to be a Christian, because saying Christian, that's an insult. That's an offense. This is Apostle Peter. That's the reason why it was wrong. The Apostle Peter and the other apostles and the elders of the church, including the church, were in Jerusalem. And a person or persons over there in Antioch called the disciples Christians. That's an insult. That's an offense. That's not something that's nice. They were being mean, and that's derogatory. It's wrong. And like I said, that's the way we all been taught. That's the way we were taught. And we were taught wrong. We all were taught wrong. It's wrong to say Christian. It's wrong. It's wrong. We were taught wrong. That's what that means. We were all taught wrong. And even today, we being taught wrong. It's wrong. Like I said, we know that the Apostle Peter did not tell you to be a Christian. He was not telling you that. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. This is the Apostle Peter talking to you. First of all, it's the Apostle Peter. And see, that's how you know you've been taught wrong. You don't even know how to show the Apostle Peter respect. That's how you know it's wrong. See, you be listening to a lot of people, just like here. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give everybody around the world a good example. Here in the United States of America, the African American community, brought over here on ships, transported over here from sub-Saharan Africa, the East African and West African slave trade. Treated cruelly, slavery, no rights, no nothing, just treated like you nothing, like you don't have, like nobody care nothing about you, no education whatsoever. The only thing you learn is what the slave master taught you, boss. And that's what you said, boss. Because you ain't know nothing else. Yes, a boss. No, a boss. That's all you know. Then after slavery, then the slave master taught you to say you're a gangster and a mobster. You don't know nothing else. Because you ain't had no education. You ain't had no education, so you ain't know nothing else. You don't know nothing else. So when it comes to somebody telling you you're a Christian, you'll go around saying you're a Christian all day, all night, and won't disagree. Don't know how to find out if it's right or wrong. But you just go around talking about you're a Christian. You don't even know who to possibly. You don't know nothing about the Bible, nothing, because you've been living over here as a slave. Whatever the definition of slave means to whoever. Whoever brought you over, whoever the East African, West African slave trade. Whatever the definition of slave to them people, they brought you over here. And see, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. The Apostle Peter was talking to you. That's the Apostle Peter talking to you. Let him not be ashamed. Why not be ashamed? First of all, it's wrong. But it takes the Apostle Peter to come to you and to reveal himself to you that I'm the Apostle Peter. You didn't even know what that meant. The Apostle Peter had been walking around for a long time before they heard that mess over there in Antioch. See, this is something that we keep continuing to say is when Jesus Christ was on the earth, you didn't hear nobody say anything to Jesus Christ like that. And you ain't never hear Jesus Christ himself say anything except disciple. That's all you heard Jesus Christ say. Disciple. Then after he leaves, he been crucified and resurrected. And then he leaves again into a cloud. He goes up into a cloud. We go back to the book of Acts. He leaves his apostles. He gives his apostle commandments. And you ain't heard none of his apostles say anything different than what Jesus Christ said. You don't hear his apostles saying anything different from what Jesus Christ said. Over there in Antioch, you hear some mess over there called the disciples Christians. You ain't never hear the disciples say they started calling themselves Christians. Over there in Antioch, it was a person or persons who called the disciples a name, some kind of slang, a slur. It was an offense. It was an assault. It was an insult. Called the disciples Christians. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. So glorify God. Glorify God. Now, also in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, and 18. The Apostle Peter exposes Saul for being a liar. Nobody else is writing epistles but the apostles and the elders and the apostles. So who is this person that had the audacity to write some epistles? Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, calling himself an apostle. A liar. A false teacher. Some no good person who ain't had no business doing anything like that. But see, this is the type of person, when you're a no good liar, see, you can't conceal your wickedness. You can't consider, it's just a matter of time before it comes out. And that's what happened. After Saul was supposedly converted by Jesus Christ, you understand? He's still a wicked person. He still was doing wicked stuff. Just as soon as he had, just as soon as he had the opportunity, to to go back to doing the stupid stuff that he was already doing. That's what he did. He went back to Tarsus. And instead of him being over there in Tarsus, teaching the people what he had been taught, look at what he do. Barnabas goes over there to Tarsus to find him and bring him back. So they go over there to Antioch. Now we're gonna do some research today. I just want to get this part done first, so we can go, we can do some research. But and one of the things we're gonna look up Tarsus for a reason. That's one of the reasons why. Because Saul from Tarsus is a liar. He tried to make it sound like the place that he came from. He tried to make it sound like it was like Jerusalem. It was a religious place, and it was religious people walking around. He tried to make it sound like Tarsus was a place where you want to take your wife and children. That's not the case. And we gonna go online, and we gonna share information with the whole world that Saul from Tarsus was lying about Tarsus, because he said it was not a mean. When he said he was from Tarsus, a place in Cilicia, not a mean city, he was lying. The only people who was in Tarsus were criminals. Now, so like I say, the 2 Peter chapter 3 verses 15, 16, 17, 18, the Apostle Peter exposes Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, for being a false teacher, a liar. Do not read those epistles. He lied. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he lied. The disciples, you don't listen to no liar. First of all, the disciples listened to Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the apostles, and the elders of the church. Is it Jesus Christ, the apostles, and the elders of the church? And see, the first elders of the church were appointed by the apostles in Jerusalem. And then when the church began to spread, they would appoint elders of the church. Elders of the church were appointed when the church began to spread. But the first elders of the church in Jerusalem, they were appointed by the apostles. We listen to Jesus Christ, the disciples. Listen to Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the apostles, and the elders of the church. The first elders of the church were in Jerusalem. When the church began to spread, in each one of the churches, they will always appoint elders of the church. Now, let's turn to the book of Acts chapter 15. Now I'm going to start reading at verse number 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except you be circumcised after the manner of Moses, you cannot be saved. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question. Now I'm going to start reading now. That's the start of the end of all that Christian stuff. That was the start of the end of it. Because the reason why I say that is when you read verse number 2, Acts chapter 15, verse number 2. And it says, when therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them is plural, should go to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question. What I just got to say? The disciples. Who do you listen to? Who do the disciples? Jesus Christ, the Son of God. The apostles. There are 12 apostles. 12 apostles. And the elders of the church. Now, as you can see, the first elders of the church were appointed by the apostles. They were in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. Now, we know that when the church began to spread out from Jerusalem, there's no big churches. Different places like Galilee, Samaria, the church began to spread. In each one of these churches, they would appoint elders of the church. It wasn't no more apostles. There were only 12 apostles, and they were chosen by Jesus Christ, the Son of God. The elders of the church in Jerusalem, they were appointed by the apostles, by the 12 apostles in Jerusalem. Now, like I said, when the church spread out from Jerusalem, they would appoint elders to the church. Each one of these churches, they appointed elders. The book of Acts always tells you that at these churches, there were elders. Now, when you talk about that Christian stuff, and it says in chapter 15, Acts chapter 15, verse number 2, when therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, that's plural. That means more than one. They determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them, they weren't going up to Jerusalem just to talk about circumcision. That stuff you talking about Christian, they came up too. They brought that up too. See, that's the start of the end of that nonsense talking about you're a Christian. Because certain other of them, they went up to Jerusalem with Paul and Barnabas about this question to the apostles and the elders. But that wasn't the only thing they talked about. Just circumcision. They talked about that nonsense you talking about you're a Christian. That's the start of the end of that. Now, the end of all that Christian stuff, when the apostles and the elders answered that question. As a matter of fact, while we over in Acts chapter 15, let me okay, let me go over here to matter of fact, what time? Let's just read the book of Acts, chapter 15. Let's keep reading the book of Acts, chapter 15. Let me keep reading. I'm in verse number 3. And being brought on their way by the church, they passed through Phoenicia and Samaria, declaring the conversion of the Gentiles, and they caused great joy unto all the brethren. And when they were come to Jerusalem, they were received of the church and of the apostles and the elders. And they declared all things that God had done with them. But there rose up certain other sect of the Pharisees, which believed, saying, there was needful to circumcise them, and to command them to keep the law of Moses. And the apostles and elders came together for to consider of this matter. And when there had been much disputed, Peter rose up and said unto them, Men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us, that the Gentiles by my mouth shall hear the word of the gospel and believe. And God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Holy Ghost, even as he did unto us, and put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. Now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? But we believe that through the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ we shall be saved, even as they. Then all the multitude kept silence, and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simeon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written, After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. And I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things. Known unto God are all his words from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. For Moses of old time hath in every city of them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath day. Then pleased did the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, namely Judas, surnamed Barsabas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren. Now, let me pause for a minute. This is the end of that Christian stuff. Verse 23, Acts chapter 15, 23. And they wrote letters by them after this manner. The apostles and elders and brethren send greeting unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying you must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. It seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you, with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, men that have hazarded their lives for the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We have sent therefore Judas and Silas, who shall also tell you the same things by mouth. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye shall do well, fare ye well. So when they were dismissed, they came to Antioch, and when they had gathered the multitude together, they delivered the epistle, which when they had read, they rejoiced for the consolation. And Judas and Silas, being prophets also themselves, exhorted the brethren with many words, and confirmed them. And after they had tarried there a space, they were let go in peace from the brethren unto the apostles. Notwithstanding, it pleased Silas to abide there still. Paul also and Barnabas continued in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord, with many others also. And some days after, Paul said unto Barnabas, Let us go again and visit our brethren in every city where we have preached the word of the Lord, and see how they do. And Barnabas determined to take with them John, whose surname was Mark. But Paul thought not good to take him with them, who departed from them for Pamphylia, and went not with them to the work. And the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder one from the other. And so Barnabas took Mark and sailed unto Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren unto the grace of God. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the churches. We know that Saul was a liar. See, we remember when we talk about this contention, remember over there in Acts chapter 13. Let me turn over there. Acts chapter 13. Acts chapter 13, verse 13. Now when Paul and his company loosed from Paphos, they came to Perga in Pamphylia, and John departed from them, returned to Jerusalem. See, when you read the when you read the Bible, see, it's a sequence of events. Acts chapter 11, verse 26. You had this stuff came up talking about over there in Antioch. Somebody said Christian. Next thing you know, over in Acts chapter 13, verse 13, John departs from Paul and goes back to Jerusalem. See, this is the same John Mark that was over there in, when Peter got out of prison. He went to Mary's house, and John Mark, that was his mother. See, it's a sequence of events. This is the same John Mark that went back to Jerusalem. Now, over in Acts chapter 15, it's this sharp contention between Barnabas and Saul, Paul, about John Mark. See, Paul didn't want John Mark to go with him. Barnabas did. But see, the church and the apostles and the elders, they wanted to get John Mark away from Barnabas anyway. And they want to get Paul away from everybody. This is something that the apostles and the elders and these men are doing. See, this is something that Saul is doing on his own. See, people have to pay attention to. See, Paul is doing stuff that the apostles and the elders not telling him to do. See, it was something that Paul said to Barnabas. Then he wanted to go visit church. The apostles and the elders over there, and nobody told him to do that. This is something that he tried to do. And when he tried to do things, he tried to get away from the apostles and the elders. He tried to get far away, a distance away from the apostles. That way he can do all this wickedness. Because see, the people not going to listen to him. The people now, when the apostles and the elders send out an epistle, who you think the people in Antioch listening to? They listening to the apostles and the elders in Jerusalem. So Paul can't be there no more. Paul can't be there no more. Nobody's listening. You've been exposed. You've been exposed. You think the apostles and elders don't know who said it? They know. But see, you don't want to get into that he say, she say, that hearsay. But they know who said it. The people in Antioch know who said it. That's the reason why John Mark in Acts chapter 13, verse 30, he went back to Jerusalem and told the apostles and the elders of the church. He went and told it. Okay, now we got to go. Now. And so, that Christian stuff, see, that's the reason why that was the end of it. See, that's the reason why that was the end of it. Acts chapter 15, verse 22, that was the end of that. That was the end of that. Not just in Antioch, that was the end of that period. And after that, you ain't hear nobody else say nothing about no Christian. You ain't hear nowhere in the book of Acts do you hear anything else about Christian. And when you read the book of Acts, you still reading about the disciples. But you don't hear nobody saying they are Christian. Then over there at 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16, the Apostle Peter said something about it. But the reason why he said something about it, because people were going around lying. And the Apostle Peter knew that some people were saying things like that around other people. And see, other people, see the word of God, all this stuff about scattering the persecution. See, this is one of the things that these people were trying to do. They were trying to break up the church. They were trying to persecute the church. And when you do that, people start running in every direction. They don't know what direction they going. People just going everywhere. And then you had people that were going around saying Christian. And see, Saul, when you read the book of Acts, chapters 27 and 28, you read about Paul being in Rome. See, this is what he did. He went and got help from the Romans. For a period of time, the Roman Empire really wasn't doing anything. It was really the criminals. I'm gonna make sure we're gonna identify. It was really the criminals. But when Paul tried to, just like him talking to King Agrippa, see, this is how the Roman Empire got involved. Paul went over there to Rome and started talking to the Romans. Because see, over there in Jerusalem, it was Romans because they were already occupying the territory. The Romans were already occupying their territory. They was in Jerusalem. They was in Judea. They was in Samaria. They was in Galilee. There was Roman territory. It was the Roman Empire. So they were already occupying, but they were not involved in this so-called religion, because really it just started. Jesus Christ was crucified in AD 33. So this was really, when you read the Acts chapter 1, it was like 120 people. And it was just really 120 people. And then the church began to grow, began to multiply. So we can't say that the Roman Empire just automatically started being disciples. It didn't start that way. The church had to grow, but the church, as it was trying to grow, it was being persecuted. And see, this is the reason why we started talking about who are the people that's persecuting the disciples. See, this is what we was talking about, and we're gonna still get into it. It was some criminals, just like Judas, who betrayed Jesus. See, this is something that's been going on. It was some criminals. There was some criminals going around. There was some criminals. There was some criminals. See, when we talk about Jews, and there was a lot of people during that period of time, the Jewish faith had a lot of influence. During that period of time, the Jewish faith had a lot of influence. I mean, you can just listen to the way people talk, all the apostles. Even if they weren't regular visitors to the synagogue, you can just say it wasn't no other faith. Judaism it was in the government. You had King Herod. Judaism was an influential force during that period of time. Even if you was not a regular visitor to the synagogue, Judaism had a lot of influence. So when you start talking about Jesus, and then like I said, it was some criminal. If you weren't a regular visitor to the synagogue, you were pretty much considered to be a criminal anyway. And that's the way people were treating people, like you was a criminal, like you was some kind of what they call a heretic. It was like you were rejecting Judaism, and you just didn't do that. As you can see, the way they treated Jesus, they were talking about crucifying. You see the two people, the two thieves who got crucified on the cross, they were criminals. Who got crucified with Jesus, they were criminals. They were not religious people. They were some criminals. And then one criminal, they what's his name, Barabbas. He was one of those militants about Judaism. And it was people like him going around. And so when you read about the apostles, see, that's really why I mentioned about Judas betraying Jesus. See, there were people going around, all this stuff about the Afro-Asiatic and the Indo-European and some of these other people from Central Asia who were moving around. Sometimes the way, during that period of time, the way people look. See, all that stuff about Islam, before Islam, and even before Judaism. See, people live different on this earth. And see, when we talk about the things that's happening today, see, these are things that some people intention not bring up. Is that before Judaism, see, all that stuff about Islam, people talking about the Arabs. Everybody not know Arab. See, all that stuff about the Semites. Everybody not a Semite. Even the Afro-Asiatic. The people in Egypt, the Egyptians not a Semite. The Semites are the Ethiopians, the Eritreans, the Maltese, the Aramaics, the Hebrews, and the Arabs. That's who the Semites is. That's who your Semites is. The people in Somalia, they not a Semite. Them the Cushite. The people, the Berber, they not Semite, but they all Afro-Asiatic, considered to be Afro-Asiatic because of the language. The Egyptians, they not Semite, they considered to be, they are Afro-Asiatic. And then you had the Chadic. For example, the Hase, the Chadic. They not Semite either. So when we talk about the history, there's a lot of people been on this earth for a long, long, long time. See, the Niger Congo, they've been on this earth for a long, long, long time. The Nilo-Saharan been on this earth a long, 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 long time. And see, when we start getting into history, just like how people were migrating, see, everybody ain't live in the same place where they live today. People been migrating, and then they'll settle in a certain area, and then that's what you see today. But then the historians, they'll go into history and they'll start researching, and then you'll find out that these people, they didn't always live here. They lived somewhere else, and they came from somewhere else, and then they settled, and then that's what you see today. And that's what you have. So when we start talking about the Middle East and things, and they see, when you start going into it, just like the Romans, the Roman Empire. The Romans are not Afro-Asiatic. They Indo-European. They Latins. The Latins. They're European. And they conquered this area. They had brought this area under the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire ruled this area. The Middle East. The Europeans. The Greeks. Then you got the Slavics and the Albanians and the Armenians, the Celtics, and the Germans, the French. Well, that's Latin. French, that's Latin. What I leave out? The Balto-Slavic. Then you had your Uralics. They not Indo-European. Over there in Hungary, in Finland, Estonia, the Uralics have been on this earth a long, long, long time. You think they don't know history? You think when we start talking about history and we talk about the disciples and we start talking about the people that live on this earth, you think the Uralics ain't sitting over there in Hungary and over there in Finland and over there in Estonia? You think they ain't listening? And they see all these people, they see the Indo-European. You think they ain't listening? And then you talking about some Afro-Asiatic living in North Africa. They know it too. The Uralics know it too. People ain't always live where they live today. Because they migrated. They came from somewhere else and then they settled. That's the reason why you see North Africa today. I know the Indo-European gonna say the same thing. When you look at North Africa, people ain't always live where they live today. They used to live somewhere else, then they settled. The Niger Congo gonna say the same thing. People ain't always live where they live today. The Nilo-Saharan gonna say the same thing. Then you go over there to East Asia, people gonna tell you the same thing. People ain't always live where they live today. And when you start talking about God, so Barnabas, and like I said, we were talking about Barnabas and Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. The contention was so great that they had to be separated. But see, don't forget, the apostles and the elders, they know what's going on. They know what's going on. And see, it was some chosen men who was there. Silas, one of them. Don't forget, Silas was sent by the apostles and elders to Antioch. And see, when you look at the history of Silas later on, you'll find out that Silas was a Roman. Silas is a Roman. And he became a disciple. See, this is the reason why when we talk about the Roman Catholic Church, you need to read the book of Acts. And you also need to go back to read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because some of the Romans, they became followers of Jesus Christ. So you ain't going to tell me about no Roman Catholic Church. Jesus Christ was talking to one of the centurions, and one of the centurions sent for Jesus Christ because of his daughter. And everybody remember that? You remember that, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The centurion, he had a daughter, and his daughter became sick. Who is the centurion? He's a Roman. See, this is the reason why when you be talking about that Roman Catholic Church, you be lying. You be lying. Because there was too many Romans who knew that Jesus Christ was walking around, including Pontius Pilate. So how you going to talk about some Catholic Church? Come on now. Come on now. Let's be realistic, man. Come on. Even the Apostle Peter was talking to in the book of Acts, when Apostle Peter had the dream. Matter of fact, I'm in the book of Acts now. Okay, Peter's vision. Matter of fact, Acts chapter 10. Read Acts chapter 10, everybody. And let me give everybody talking about the Roman Catholic Church. Acts chapter 10, verse number 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much honor to the people and prayed to God always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the ninth hour of the day, an angel of God coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thy alms are come up for a memorial before God. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodges with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants, and a devout soldier of them. They waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry without eating, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance. And he saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Excuse me. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, they call not thou come. It was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now, what time? Okay. Now, so like I said, I'm not gonna speak. We don't have to be sitting up here arguing about no Catholic Church. We know that's a man-made religious organization. That's just one example. That was just one example. See? Okay, so like I said, that Christian stuff, that was the end of that Christian stuff. Acts chapter 15, verse 22. Now, like I said, that was the end of it. That was the end of that Christian stuff. There's no, that was an insult. It was an offense. There's no such thing as people being a Christian. That was the end of it. That was the end. Now, let's get the laptop. Now we on Wikipedia. We on Wikipedia, everybody. We know that Wikipedia is a quick reference. It's a quick reference. Now we're gonna read about the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, also known as the Roman Catholic Church, is the largest Christian church with more than 1.299 billion members worldwide. Is one of the oldest religious institutions in the world. It has played a prominent role in the history and development of Western civilization. The church is headed by the Bishop of Rome, who is known as the Pope. The church's doctrine are summarized in the Nicene Creed. Its central administration, the Holy See, is in the Vatican City enclave within Rome, Italy. The Catholic Church teaches that it is the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church founded by Jesus Christ. That its bishops are the successors of Christ's apostles, and that the Pope is the successor of St. Peter, to whom primacy was conferred by Jesus Christ. It maintains that it practices the original Christian faith, preserving infallibility passed down by sacred tradition. The Latin Church, the Eastern Catholic Church, and institutes such as Mendicant orders and enclosed monastic orders reflect a variety of theological and spiritual emphasis in the church. Of its seven sacraments, the Eucharist is the principal one, celebrated liturgically in the Mass. The church teaches that through consecration by a priest, the sacrificial bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ. The Virgin Mary is venerated in the Catholic Church as Mother of God and Queen of Heaven, honored in dogmas and devotions. Its teaching includes sanctification through faith and evangelization of the gospel, as well as Catholic social teaching, which emphasizes voluntary support for the sick, the poor, and the afflicted through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. The Catholic Church is the largest non-government provider of education and healthcare in the world. The Catholic Church has influenced Western philosophy, culture, science, and art. The Catholic Church shared communion with the Eastern Orthodox Church until the East-West Schism in 1054, disputing particularly the authority of the Pope, as well as with the Oriental Orthodox churches prior to the Chalcedonian Schism in 451 over differences in Christology. Catholics live all over the world through missions, diaspora, and conversion. Since the 20th century, the majority reside in the southern hemisphere due to secularization in Europe and increased persecution in the Middle East. Now, let me scroll down. I'm going to scroll down to where it says name. Now, the Catholic Church was first used to describe the church in the early 2nd century. The first known use of the phrase the Catholic Church occurred in a letter written about 110 AD from St. Ignatius of Antioch to the Smyrnaeans in the catechetical lectures of St. Cyril of Jerusalem. The name Catholic Church was used to distinguish it from other groups that also call themselves the church. See, this is how they know. This is how you know you did something wrong. This is how you know that the Catholic Church is a man-made religious organization. There were other groups that called themselves the church. And this man wrote this letter in 110 AD. You said it yourself that the church was in the 1st century. You said it yourself. You said you be talking about the 1st century church. See, Jesus Christ. Let's go over here to the. We got a timeline, and so we're talking about 110 AD that this man wrote this letter. talking about the Catholic Church in 110 AD. You did something wrong. You did something, and you still doing something wrong today, but you did something wrong then. It's some atrocities that got committed. Because we read about in Acts chapter 9, verse number 1, the disciples of the Lord being persecuted. In Acts chapter 9, verse 31, after the persecution, people had scattered. And see, this is what we've been bringing up. Who are the people that's doing the persecuting? Who the people that's doing the persecuting? We identified the people that's being persecuted, the disciples of the Lord. And we don't know what they look like, what language they speak. Well, what was that? Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2. When they had day of Pentecost, and they had all these various people, when you were talking about people speaking in tongues, for example. We know that's not true. You should have kept reading. But for example, there were a lot of different people, Arabs, and there were people from all over various places. So when it comes to being a disciple, that's who the disciple was. It was a whole lot of people, a variety of people. But who were the people that were doing the persecuting? I guess we'll have to say it was a variety of people. Some of them same people, including Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. And you remember those men who were traveling with Saul, Acts chapter 9, verse number 7. Those men who was journeying with Saul. See, they were going with Saul to persecute the disciples. But Jesus Christ stopped them. Jesus Christ stopped them from persecuting the disciples of the Lord. Now, like I said, we don't really identify who the people were that were doing all this persecuting. Doing all this persecuting, people running, trying to find somewhere to run and trying to find somewhere to be safe from the people that were persecuting them. They were running. They were trying to run and hide. And that's what we talking about here. When it's saying that there were other groups, when it said that there were other groups, they call themselves the church. You don't assume that they're not talking about the disciples. That's who they were talking about, the disciples. Because this is in AD. This was in the 1st century. That's who they talking about. That's what you supposed to say. It was the disciples. Now, if you had to see it the 2nd century, the 3rd century, you would say, well, it could have been some Catholics that was trying to distinguish themselves from some other Catholics. But at this point, this is what the people are telling you. This is what the historians are telling you. That in 110 AD, this, what's his name? Saint Ignatius, he from Antioch. And there was a letter, the catechetical lectures to the Smyrnaeans, St. Cyril, Jerusalem, in 110 AD. You don't say that it wasn't. That's exactly what it was. It was the disciples. He was trying to distinguish himself from the disciples. That's wrong. That's wrong. Jesus Christ never started no Catholic church. Jesus Christ didn't start. That's the reason why you see these people, the group that would call themselves the church. They were the disciples. It was the disciples. And here it is. This is a criminal. These people are criminals. This is a criminal. He gonna go out here and start some other group and gonna distinguish himself. Then everything that you saying, you got it from the people that call themselves the church. Use your common sense. Where did you get all this information from about Jesus Christ and about the communion? Why are you doing that when the church was already there? You don't listen to people do that. When the historians tell you that there was a group calling themselves the church, you don't listen to the Catholics, because they took all that information from this group. They call themselves the church. That's how you know they did something wrong. When the historians tell you that during that period of time, during the AD, right after Jesus Christ had been crucified, there were groups of people calling themselves the church. They let you know that they did something wrong. You commit atrocities. You commit a crime against humanity. That's exactly what you're doing by writing this letter saying the Catholic Church. And when you see all the stuff that they do, you don't listen to them. You don't listen to them. But see, this is what it lets you know. That this sainted nation, he knew that there was some more people walking around. Some criminals. He doing the same thing that Saul did. The same thing. See, Saul knew that there was some criminals walking around. For example, when Stephen was martyred, when Stephen was martyred, Saul consented to the death of Stephen. And when he consented to the death of Stephen, what did you see some of these people do? There were some people who started laying coats at his feet. At his feet. See, you don't say that these people were Jews. I know there are a lot of people that they're going to assume that they were some Jews because Saul talking about he was a Pharisee. Well, see, Saul doing the same thing after he was converted. After he was converted, he's still doing the same wicked stuff he was doing when he was a Jew. He's still doing the same wicked stuff. See, these criminals, what they try to do, they try to infiltrate the house of worship. And they try to take over. Because, see, they know the house of worship is speaking against them. All these criminals. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to take over the house of worship. So they, in their feeble mind, they think they're going to keep on doing the same wrong that they've been doing and won't nobody say anything about it. But see, when Jesus Christ came, Jesus Christ spoke out about that. Jesus Christ told you he came to save the world, and to call people to be saved. He didn't leave you walking around and to think that being a criminal was right. Because he didn't. He didn't tell you that. So here it is, this saint of nation, one of those people that want to reject Jesus Christ. Just like Saul. He's just like Saul, rejecting Jesus Christ. You don't listen to him. You don't listen to this saint of nation. What he's telling you is a criminal. This is a criminal organization. Every time when you see this letter, writing a letter, and then you gonna live your life according to this letter, you know what you're doing? You became a member of a criminal organization. That's what that is. That's a criminal organization. There were other groups calling themselves the church, and you just gonna negate. You don't even know nothing about that group. That's how people know that you don't know what you're talking about. That's how people know you don't know what you're talking about. The historians know it too. There'll be people walking around on the street talking all this Catholic stuff. You don't even know that there were groups before this Saint of Nation wrote this letter. You don't even know. You just go on and on, just running your mouth, talking about the Pope and all this. You don't even know that there was a group. There were groups calling themselves the church. Right after Jesus Christ's death, right after Jesus Christ was crucified. Matter of fact, well, let me finish reading this, and then I left off it. Okay. The Catholic notion was first stressed in the Edict Defied Catholica Issue 380 by Theodosius I, the last emperor to rule over both the eastern and western halves of the Roman Empire, when established the state church of the Roman Empire. And since the East-West Schism of 154, the Eastern Church has taken the adjective Orthodox as its distinctive epithet. However, its official name continues to be the Orthodox Catholic Church and the Western Church. In communion with the Holy See has simply taken keeping that description. Also, after the Protestant Reformation of the 16th century, when those who ceased to be in communion became known as Protestants, while the Roman Church has been used to describe the Pope's Diocese of Rome since the fall of the Western Roman Empire and into the early Middle Ages, 16th, 10th century. The Roman Catholic Church has been applied to the whole church in English language since the Protestant Reformation in the late 16th century. Roman Catholic has officially appeared also in documents produced both by the Holy See, notably applied to certain national Episcopal conferences and local dioceses. The name Catholic Church for the whole church is used in the 1990 Catechism of the Catholic Church, the 1993 Code of Canon Law documents of the 1962-65 Second Vatican Council, and numerous other official documents. Now, there are particular churches of the Catholic Church. Now you have your Latin Rite, then you have your Alexandrian Rite, that's the Coptic, the Ethiopian, the Eritrean. Then you have your Armenian Rite, that's the Armenian church. Then you have your Byzantine Rite, Albanian, Belarusian, Bulgarian, Croatian, and Serbian, Greek, Hungarian, Italo-Albanian, the Macedonian, the Nepti, the Romanian, Russian, Ruthenian, Slavic, and Ukrainian. Then you have your East Syriac Rite, the Chaldean, the Syro-Malabar, the West Syriac Rite, the Maronite, Syro-Malankara. So that's pretty much all your, or what they consider to be is the Catholic Church. Now let's go over into the Protestant Reformation. Now the Reformation, or more fully the Protestant Reformation, also the European Reformation, was a schism in Western Christianity, initiated by Martin Luther and continued by Hodrick, Zwingli, John Calvin, and other Protestant reformers in 16th century Europe. It is usually considered to have started with the publication of the 95 Theses by Martin Luther in 1517 and lasted until the end of the 30 Years' War in 1648. It led to the division of Western Christianity to different confessions: Catholic, Lutheran, Reformed, Anglican, Anabaptist, Unitarian. By the time of its arrival. Western Christianity was only comprised in the lands of the Bohemian crown, where Hussitism was officially acknowledged by both the Pope and the Holy Roman Empire. In addition, various movements, including Lollards in England and Waldensians in Italy and France, were still being actively suppressed, although there had been early attempts to reform the Catholic Church, such as those of John Huss, Peter Waldo, John Wycliffe, and Girolamo Savonarola. Luther is widely acknowledged to have started the Reformation with the 95 Theses. Luther began by criticizing the sale of indulgence, insisting that the Pope had no authority over purgatory and that the Catholic doctrine of the marriage of the saint had no foundation in the Bible. The Reformation incorporated doctrinal changes such as complete reliance on Scripture as the only source of proper belief, and that the belief that faith in Jesus and not good works is the only way to obtain God's pardon for sin. The core motivation behind these changes was theological, though many other factors played a part, including the rise of nationalism, the Western schism that eroded loyalty to the papacy, the perceived corruption of the Roman Curia, the impact of humanism, and the new learning of the Renaissance that questioned much traditional thought. Now, the initial movement in Germany diversified, and other reforms arose independently of Luther. The groundwork of the Reformation was developed by three major reformers: Luther in Wittenberg, Zwingli in Zurich, and Calvin in Geneva. Depending on country, the Reformation had varying causes, backgrounds, and also unfolded differently than in Germany. The spread of Gutenberg's printing press provided the means for the rapid dissemination of religious materials in the vernacular. Lutheran churches were founded in Germany, the Baltics, and Scandinavia, and Reformed ones in Switzerland, Hungary, France, the Netherlands, and Scotland. The movement influenced the Church of England after 1547 under Edward VI and Elizabeth I, although the English Reformation had begun under Henry VIII in 1534. Reformation movements throughout continental Europe, known as the Radical Reformation, gave rise to various Anabaptist movements. Radical reformers, besides forming communities outside state sanction, often employ much more extreme doctrinal change, such as the rejection of the tenets of the Council of Nicaea and Chalcedon. Anabaptists suffered a major blow early in the German Peasants' War and was persecuted for centuries. After that, the Reformation in Transylvania led to the emergence of Unitarianism. It is historically considered an exceptional event in church history. The Catholic Church responded with the Counter-Reformation initiated by the Council of Trent in 1549, a new order, the Jesuits, founded in 1540. Northern Europe, with the exception of most of Ireland, came under the influence of Protestantism. Southern Europe remained Catholic. Central Europe became a site of fierce conflict that culminated in the 30 Years' War. Now you had your major branches of the Protestant Reformation are Adventism, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist churches. Now don't forget, the Baptist church, they got a breakaway church, the Church of God in Christ. And Calvinism, Lutheranism, Methodism, Pentecostalism. Then you have your minor branches: Hussitism, Waldensianism, Plymouth Brethren, the Holiness Movement, Quakerism, and multiple others. Then you have your interdenominational movements: Evangelicalism, Charismatic Movement, Neo-Charismatic Movement. The other developments: Arminianism, Pietism, Puritanism, Neo-Orthodoxy, Paleo-Orthodoxy, Christian fundamentalism, and modernism and liberalism. Then you have your related movements: your non-denominational churches, house churches. Now, let me make sure you don't forget. When you say you're a Protestant, when you identify as being a Protestant, and being a reformer, they were trying to reform the Catholic Church. They were protesting the Catholic Church. And the reason why they were protesting is because they had disagreements. They didn't say they wanted to get rid of the Catholic Church. When you say reform, they were saying they wanted to reform the Catholic Church. They wanted to keep the Catholic Church going. They wanted to make some changes. They were trying to polish up the Catholic Church. They were trying to gloss it up, clean up the Catholic Church. They ain't say they want to get rid of the Catholic, so that means that all you Protestants and all you people that are trying to reform the Catholic Church, you're Catholic. All the Protestants and all the people that identify as being a reformer, you're a Catholic. You are a Catholic. Now, let's go over to the American Restoration Movement. Now, we're on the Restoration Movement. The Restoration Movement, also known as the American Restoration Movement or the Stone Campbell Movement, and pejoratively as Campbellism, is a Christian movement that began on the United States frontier during the Second Great Awakening, 1790, 1840, or the early 19th century. The pioneers of this movement were seeking to reform the church from within and sought the unification of all Christians in a single body, patterned after the Church of the New Testament. Especially since the mid-20th century, members of these churches do not identify as Protestant, but simply as Christian. The Restoration Movement developed from several independent strands of religious revival that idealized early Christianity. Two groups, which independently developed similar approaches to the Christian faith, were particularly important. The first, led by Barton W. Stone, began at Cane Ridge, Kentucky, and identified as Christians. The second began in western Pennsylvania, Virginia, now Western Virginia, and was led by Thomas Campbell and his son Alexander Campbell, both educated in Scotland. They eventually used the name Disciples of Christ. Both groups sought to restore the whole Christian church on the pattern set forth in the New Testament. Both believed that creeds kept Christianity divided. In 1832, they joined in fellowship with the handshake. Among other things, they were united in the belief that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that Christians should celebrate the Lord's Supper on the first day of each week, and that baptism of adult believers by immersion in water is a necessary condition for salvation. Because the founders wanted to abandon all denominational labels, they used the biblical names for the followers of Jesus, both groups, promoting a return to the purposes of the first century churches as described in the New Testament. One historian of the movement has argued that it was primarily a unity movement, with the Restoration movement playing a subordinate role. The Restoration movement has since divided into multiple separate groups. There are three main branches in the U.S. the Churches of Christ, the unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ congregations, and the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. Some characterize the division in the movement as the result of the tension between the goals of restoration and ecumenism. The Churches of Christ and unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ congregations resolve the tension by stressing restoration, while the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, resolve the tension by stressing ecumenism. A number of groups outside the U.S. also have historical associations with this movement, such as the Evangelical Christian Church in Canada and the Churches of Christ in Australia. Because the Restoration movement lacks in the centralized structure, having originated in a variety of places with different leaders, there is no consistent nomenclature for the movement as a whole. The term Restoration movement became popular during the 19th century. This appears to be due to the influence of Alexander Campbell's essays on the restoration of the ancient order of things in the Christian Baptist. The term Stone Campbell movement emerged towards the end of the 20th century as a way to avoid the difficulties associated with some of the other names that have been used and to maintain a sense of the collective history of the movement. Now, make this clear about this restoration movement. There was no need for no restoration movement. And why do you say that? First of all, people need to stop lying. When you talk about Jesus Christ being crucified in the first century and that it was a first century church, what is it that about this Catholic Church that you don't understand that is wrong, that it's a criminal organization? And that's what this restoration movement is. It's some criminals. Let's not forget the history of America. Let's not forget, when we talk about these restoration movement, when we talk about these people here, Stone Campbell and Barton and these people, let's not forget slavery here in the United States of America and these criminal organizations. You don't get away with that. You don't get away with trying to negate information. You won't blot it out. No. You don't leave out anything. We bring it up. These people here, these were people who owned slaves. Oh yeah. When we look up the history on these people, Barton, Stone, and Campbell, these people were slave owners. They were people who was against abolition. A lot of these people were criminals. They were criminals. That's what it means to be a criminal. You were supporting all this stuff outside the church. See, you can talk about Jesus all you want. No sooner you leave the church, even when you be in the church, you be stealing money out the collection plate. You be committing murder, committing robberies outside the church, committing slavery, be involved in slavery. You'll be doing all the things that Jesus Christ told you not to do. Just to sum it all up. All the stuff that Jesus Christ told you not to do, that's what you'll be doing. And that's what these people did. Because when you start all this nonsense talking about some restoration movement, you weren't trying to worship Jesus Christ. You were lying. You were doing the same thing that the Catholic Church was doing. You were doing the same thing that the Protestant Reformation was doing. You were lying. It's a criminal organization. Everything. When you see that 95 thesis, you know that all. You know that old saying that people, you don't know everything. Yeah. Which is true. For example, Albert Einstein, for example, he didn't know everything. I mean, he knew he was good in math and what was it, nuclear science. You know, in his field, I mean, he was in his field of study, he was the best. In his field of study, Einstein was the best. But he didn't know everything. He didn't know everything. I mean, like a neurosurgeon. He didn't know nothing about neurosurgery. He didn't know nothing about veterinarianism, being a veterinarian. He didn't know everything. I mean, he knew he was the best in his field of study. True enough, he was the best. But he didn't know everything. And see, that's the same thing with this here. It's a lot of historians. They be on top of it. They know they be talking about. They know what they be talking about. When it comes to just like this restoration movement and all that, they know what they talking about. Because they got information and the history. And see, when they put information there, they put it there for a reason. They letting you know that they know. And just like when you wrote that letter about the Catholic Church, when we know the historians did, they put something there to let you know that they know that there were other churches called, there were other groups called the church. That was the disciples. In the first, when you be talking about the first century church, it's not something that you got on your own. See, that's how the restoration movement got started. It was the historians who did research. See, this is how I know you lying. See, this is how they know you lying. When you got people that go to college, for example, the sorority and fraternity, for example. See, you make people look like they're a fool. You try to make people look like they're a fool. You go to college, and then you study other people's information, and then you go out and run your mouth, and then not only that, but then you go around doing all this wrong, like lying. Because that's what the Catholic Church be doing. Be lying. You ain't doing them a lying. Jesus Christ didn't tell nobody to write no letter and then call it the Catholic Church. Come on now. Nobody told Jesus Christ didn't tell you. It wasn't no need for you to do that. Jesus Christ had already established the church. Come on now. Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Come on now. Jesus Christ had already established the church. There was no need for no Catholic Church to be started. That's a lie. Come on now. Come on now. You lying. And all this stuff about the Protestant Reformation. Come on now. Matthew chapter 16, verse 13 through 19. Come on. And then you're going to protest the Catholic Church. And you're going to reform the Catholic Church. Come on. The American Restoration Movement. There was no need for no restoration movement. What you need to do is stop lying. That's what you need. That's what they need. People need to stop lying. Because that's what you be doing. You be lying. Now let's go over here to the death of Jesus Christ for everybody. Now we on Wikipedia. We're on Wikipedia. And it's gonna we on Wikipedia. It's gonna talk about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And the reason why we're going over the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, like I said, the historians, they got it right. They pretty much got it down. We want to get a timeline. But see, this is important. You wrote a letter in 110 AD. In 110 AD. Now, the crucifixion, we on Wikipedia. The crucifixion of Jesus occurred in the 1st century. Come on now. The crucifixion of Jesus occurred in the 1st century Judea, likely between AD 30 and 33. So Jesus was crucified in 1st century. That's what AD means, 1st century. Around 30, 33 AD. Come on now. Jesus' crucifixion is described in the 4 canonical Gospels, referred to in the New Testament epistle, attested to by other ancient sources, and is established as a historical event, confirmed by non-Christian sources, although there is no consensus among historians on the exact detail. Okay, it says, according to the canonical Gospel, Jesus was arrested and tried by the Sanhedrin and then sentenced by Pontius Pilate to be scourged and finally crucified by the Romans. Jesus was stripped of his clothing and offered wine mixed with myrrh, gall to drink. Before being crucified, he was then hung between 2 convicted thieves. And according to the Gospel, Mark died some 6 hours later. During this time, the soldiers affixed a sign to the top of the cross stating Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, which according to the Gospel of John was written in 3 languages. Then they divided the garments among themselves and cast lots for a seamless robe, according to the Gospel of John. According to the Gospel of John, after Jesus' death, one soldier pierced his side with a spear to be certain that he died. The Bible describes 7 statements that Jesus made while he was on the cross, as well as several supernatural events that occurred, collectively referred to as the Passion, Jesus' suffering and redemption, death by crucifixion, are the central aspects of Christian theology concerning the doctrine of salvation and atonement. Now, when we scroll down to where it says historicity. The baptism of Jesus and his crucifixion are considered to be 2 historically certain facts about Jesus. James Dunn states that these 2 facts in the life of Jesus command almost universal assent and rank so high on the almost impossible to doubt or deny scale of historical facts that they are often the starting points for the study of the historical Jesus. Bart Ehrman states that the crucifixion of Jesus on the orders of Pontius Pilate is the most certain element about him. John Dominic Crossan states that the crucifixion of Jesus is as certain as any historical fact can be. Eddie and Boyd state that it is now firmly established that there is non-Christian confirmation of the crucifixion of Jesus. Craig Bloomberg states that most scholars in the third quest for the historical Jesus consider the crucifixion indisputable. Christopher M. Tuckett states that although the exact reason for the death of Jesus are hard to determine, one of the indisputable facts about him is that he was crucified. While scholars agree on the historicity of the crucifixion, they differ on the reason and context for it. For example, both E.P. Sanders and Paula Fredrickson support the historicity of the crucifixion, but contend that Jesus did not foretell his own crucifixion and that his prediction of the crucifixion is a church creation. Giza Vermes John P. Giza Vermes also views the crucifixion as a historical event. As historical fans state that based on a creation of embarrassment, Christians would not have invented the painful death of their leader. Miles stated that a number of other criteria, the criterion of multiple attestation, confirmation by more than one source, and the creation of coherence, that it fits with historical elements, help establish the crucifixion of Jesus as a historical event. And it says although almost all ancient resources related to crucifixion are literary, the 1968 archaeological discovery just northeast of Jerusalem of the body of a crucified man, dated to the first century, provided good confirmatory evidence that crucifixion occurred during the Roman period, roughly according to the manner in which the crucifixion of Jesus is described in the Gospel. The crucified man was identified as Yohanan ben Hakel and probably died about 70 A.D. around the time of the Jewish revolt against Rome. The analysis at the Hadassah Medical School estimated that he died in his late 20s. Another relevant archaeological find, which also dates to the first century A.D., is an unidentified heel bone with a spike discovered in a Jerusalem gravesite not held by the Israel Antiquities Authority and displayed in the Israel Museum. Now, so it's a historical fact that Jesus Christ was crucified around 33 A.D., the first century. So the Catholic Church, this saint of nations of Antioch, he wrote this letter to the Smyrnaeans. The Catholic Church, the phrase Catholic Church, 110 A.D. Now we know that in the Bible, the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then you had the Acts of the Apostles. It talks about the disciples being persecuted. The church, when Jesus Christ, after he was resurrected, when you read Acts chapter 1, He talks about the church. Matter of fact, we read Acts chapter 1. We're in Acts chapter 1, starting at verse number 1. The former treatise have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Jesus began both to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up, after they through the Holy Ghost had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom also he shewed himself alive after his passed by many infallible proof, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of God, and being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Ye have heard of me, for John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Ghost. Not many days, and when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times of the season which the Father hath put in his own power. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and all Judea and Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfast toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem. A Sabbath day's journey, when they were come in, they went up into an upper room where abode both Peter and James and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus and Simon Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women, and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brethren. And in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, The number of names together were about 120 men and brethren. This scripture must needs have been fulfilled, which the Holy Ghost by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas, which regarded them that took Jesus. For his number with us, and I obtained part of this ministry. Now this man, presently filled with the reward of iniquity, and fallen headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. And it was known unto all the dwellers of Jerusalem, insomuch as their field is called in their proper tongue a Saturday, that is to say, the field of blood. For it is written in the book of Psalms, Let his habitation be desolate, let no man dwell in, and his bishopric let another take. Wherefore these men, which accompanied with us all the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John to that same day he was taken up from us, must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. And they appointed 2, Joseph, called Barsabbas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou Lord, which knoweth the hearts of all men, shew whether these 2 thou hast chosen, that he may take part in this ministry and apostleship, from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. There again, it was 12 apostles. 12 apostles. Only 12. Only 12 apostles. Justus, he didn't go around calling himself no apostle. After this, you don't go around and giving yourself titles now. So we know it's been the historians, they pretty much got it the timeline that Jesus Christ crucified around 33 AD, the first century. Now this Catholic church started, or it was the phrase Catholic Church was in this letter, 110 AD. You don't negate the disciples. You don't negate the disciples. That's what you tried to do. See, this is the lie that the Catholic Church is telling, the Protestant Reformation telling, and the American Restoration Movement. You all lying about the disciples. You're lying. You're lying. And one more thing we want to talk. We want to bring it up is about the apostles in the Catholic Church. Now the Catholic Church claiming that they got some bones. I'm gonna mention this. The Catholic Church been claiming that the historians claiming, saying that the apostles were all crucified, killed. And see, there's only one, John, who died of natural cause. John, the one who wrote Revelation. He died of natural cause. All the others, including Matthias, they were all killed. And the Catholic Church is claiming that they got all the bones of the apostles. They claim, the Catholic Church is claiming that they got the bones of all 12 apostles. Now I don't know who bones. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know who bones the Catholic Church got. You can claim whatever you want to claim. You've been lying about others, and you'll lie about that too. That's what I got to say. You done lie about other stuff. You'll lie about that too. Now I'm gonna get my tablet. Now we're gonna continue to talk about these groups, because they be lying to the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, and all these different various Black Hebrew Israelites groups, the Rastafarians, and some of these people they're going from the Black Hebrew Israelites to the Rastafarians, and they'll go from the Rastafarians to the Nation of Islam. They'll go from the Nation of Islam to the 5%. They'll go from the 5% Nation to the Moorish Science Temple, and also the American Muslim Society. And then we had all this Pan-Africanism. And you got all these during the Civil Rights Movement, even before the Civil Rights Movement, the NAACP, the Urban League, all kind of organizations, and these colleges and universities, and who started. It's just people trying to leave the United States of America, trying to go outside this country, in these groups, and So we're gonna continue. The FBI, the Justice Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they got a file on all these groups. On all these groups, they got a file. Now, this W. Far Muhammad. Now we trying to get as much information we can on this WD Far Muhammad. Now there was a sociologist named Hernan Don Boehner. He had published an article in the American Journal of Sociology in 1938 about this W.D. Far Muhammad. And then so he began signing his name W.F. Muhammad, Wallace Far Muhammad. And then so like I said, we're gonna get as much information on this W.D. Far Muhammad. If you had to go outside, go to other countries and get as much information you can, I recommend that you do that. Every nation on this earth, because these people here in America, they'll try to go outside the United States, just like for Ramadan and for the what's that over there, that pilgrimage. They'll try to do that, and then the Rastafarians and the black Hebrew Israelites, some of them trying to live over there in Israel, trying to go outside this country, gang members. Some criminals. So get as much information you can. Don't let nobody make a fool out you or take advantage of you. Talking about God. we're going to continue to talk about African traditional religion. As you know, African traditional religion is being taught in sub-Saharan Africa at colleges and universities. You can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD study African traditional religion. Now, one of the books we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasei Walelu, Dr. P. Adenumo Tupemu. The book we're going to read referred to as titled African Traditional Religion, definition written by Dr. E. Beloja Adowu. Another book we're going to continue to read referred to as titled African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Another book we're going to continue to read referred to as the Concept of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Now, some examples of schools that teach African traditional religion. Dr. Joseph Omasei Walelu, PhD, Abadan, Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religion, Department of Religious Studies, University of Abadan, Abadan, Nigeria. Dr. P. Adenumo Tupemu, PhD, Abadan, Department of Religious Studies, University of Alarin, Nigeria. Dr. E. Beloja Adowu, Professor of Religious Studies, University of Abadan, Nigeria. Dr. John S.M.B. He was born in Kenya, and he studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Now, this is the International Bill of Human Rights, was a name given to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217, and two international treaties established by the United Nations consist of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. This is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It is an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly, described as an International Bill of Rights for Women. It was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Is an international document promoting child rights drafted by Eglantine Jeb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This date has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is the human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines a child as any human being under the age of 18 unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. The world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights, 1922. It's founded by some 20 national organizations on the initiative of French and German member organizations. It is the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. This is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the World Wildlife Fund. Now we know the governments all over the world, they enact laws to protect all of us, make all of us safe from crime. The United States government passed the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970. In Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act. The RICO Act is the anti-gang. This is the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substance Act, the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, Kingpin Statute. It's all anti-gang. The Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974 established the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention and its other related legislation, the anti-gang. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and Comprehensive Gang Model, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Bureau of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, United States Department of Justice. The Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice, United States Department of Justice, Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, Project Safe Neighborhood. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Police and Service, Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice, International Narcotics Law Enforcement Affairs, United States Department of State, Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistant Education and Training, the GREAT Program. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. In October 2009, the National Youth Gang Center, which had been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention since 1995, merged with the National Gang Center, which had been funded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance since 2003. National Gang Center compilates state laws against gangs. The Gang Prevention Overview of Research and Program, Mr. James C. Howe, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice, Delinquency Prevention, National Gang Center Bullets, History of Street Gangs in the United States. Read the books in the bulletin. And also you can go to Wikipedia. You can find the same information. Gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney Manual 1457, Criminal Street Gang Statute 18, United States Code 521. The United States Department of Justice Federal Bureau Investigating National Gang Intelligence Center. The United States Department of Justice Organized Crime and Gang Section. And there are other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategies, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. The United States Department of Justice Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice. The United States Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Injury Prevention and Control. Changing course, preventing gang membership. Also striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, United States Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention. You go to youth.gov and be informed about the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, as well as the comprehensive anti-gang initiative and the comprehensive gang model. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice System, National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gangs, anti-hazing. You can go to lawyers.com, be informed about anti-hazing. Now, you know, the Webster's Third New International Dictionary and Oxford English Dictionary, the prefixes, suffix, root words, they're in those dictionaries, they're in the dictionary. The complete, this is Webster's Third New International Dictionary, the complete and total meaning, definition of the word gang. Excuse me. The act, manner, or means of bowing. And this is mobile. This is mob. Now that stupid sorority, that stupid fraternity is sister. This brother. Oxford English Dictionary. The complete and total definition and meaning of the word gain. Action or mode of going, way, passing. A set of things or persons. This is mobile and mob. Now there's stupid sorority, there's stupid fraternity. Now I'm gonna get ready to end today's video, but before I end today's video, I want to inform everybody when we be talking about these groups, the Nation of Islam, Morrison, Temple, so on, so on. Yesterday, Saturday afternoon, you know, we've been talking about these groups and stuff here in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. Nation of Islam, they be out there selling newspaper right up the street. Shelby Drive and Mill Branch right up the street. So I was up there at the Burger King up there, right, you know, at the intersection. It's a 4-way intersection. I was up there eating at Burger King. After I got through eating at Burger King, I went outside and I walked down to that intersection at Shelby Drive and Mill Branch. And I stood there and I seen that these dummies were out there selling newspapers. You know, it's just a matter of time. You know, I said this once and I'm gonna say it again. You know, there's a lot of people that's doing all this lying, like the gangs, you know. I've been wanting to get you. Been want to get you. And the only reason, just like them, I ain't get you because the police. So I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. Don't forget these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Make anti-gang logo. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. Live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county of Shelby, the state of Tennessee. Thank all my family, my support for the continued encouragement and support. Always put God first. Take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you the very best.